What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for the last post-match fan show of the season as Spurs have won by 3-0 at Bramall Lane against Sheffield United in I don't think it was the most amazing display. It wasn't the greatest opposition, a team that have conceded over 100 goals, but Kulusevski in the 9, Pedro Porro putting in a really good display. I think there's a lot to be proud about from this display and the last display against Man City, and a lot to look forward to as well in terms of next season. We're going to get you guys on to have your say on the game, have your say on the season, and also how much you're looking forward and what you're looking forward to under Ange Postecoglou moving forward. But maybe it's not the second half of the season or the last 6 or 7 games that we wanted, but there are a lot of things to look forward to, aren't there?
I hope so. That's for sure. I think Ange Postecoglou's had a really positive first season in charge at Tottenham. I think obviously it started like a house on fire, but there's been a lot of inconsistencies since then, especially in the especially the last couple of months. I think has been quite alarming, the drop off in some of the performances. We did get the 2 wins that you expected us to get in the last 6 or 7 games against Burnley and against Sheffield United today. So obviously we've got that Europa League spot, and that's good. I do feel there is a sense of disappointment how the season has ended, but I do think that given all the circumstances surrounding this season, given all the circumstances that Ange Postecoglou had to deal with this season, I think obviously I don't think anyone can really complain with us getting 5th spot, but he knows that next season and this summer is going to be a very important summer of change, very important summer to get a lot of the ins and outs to kind of get the squad that we want. But the performance is going to have to improve next season, and that's the reality if Ange is going to progress in the way we want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do kind of get the feeling of what could have been in terms of if we did keep up the performance levels, if we didn't have a massive drop-off. There has to be questions asked why this drop-off did come about in the second half of the season. But I think Ange Postecoglou, when you listen to him in the press, when you see the kind of football he wants to play with, you can see a lot has been thrown at him this season about he doesn't have a plan B, he can't change it up. Well, we definitely saw he can do in the last 2 games of the season, so that's definitely positive signs to take into next season. But anyway, enough of our say. This is your time to have your say, so let's go and speak to Edward first up. How you doing, Edward?
I'm good. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Thoughts on the game, mate?
That's a win, so take a win. Didn't concede a goal. I don't remember the last time we didn't concede a goal.
Aston Villa.
Yeah, that long ago. Happy that the season's over. And I think, just good to have the season out of the way.
Edward, do we need to sign a striker, or can Decky play that role? Have we got a new striker?
Sign a new striker. I mean, yeah. Dejan Kulusevski isn't that player anymore. He's a good winger, but he's been poor in the past month. So
the first game he started up front today, scores 2 goals.
Yeah, but beginner's luck. you always try to succeed in a new position. Remember when we put Lucas Moura in cam, and he did really well, succeeding first time. So yeah,
he should have stayed there, though, in my opinion. But anyway, when you're looking at the outlook of the season, are you looking at it in a positive light or a negative light in terms of there's a lot of positives to take, but there are negatives as well. So what's your outlook of the season?
I think we've had a good season, really good season. I said it last time. We were all predicted to have like mid-table scraps, 10th, 11th, because we got rid of Kane and we didn't sign a Kane replacement. Here we are with European football. I mean, Manchester United signed Højlund, and they can't even get Conference League football. So you really got to see where people are what people are talking about when they mean we've had a poor season, where we've literally got European football in a season that at the beginning we were predicted to get like 10th.
Yeah.
So, Edward, what do you rate the season out of 10?
8.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So we finished 5th this season, Europa League football. What should be the aims and aspirations for next season?
Get a striker, fight for Champions League football, fight for the Europa League trophy, and just get any trophy. Carabao Cup, Europa League, FA Cup. We need a trophy next season, definitely.
Are we taking part in the Audi Cup this summer? Maybe we can get that.
No, we're not sponsored by Audi anymore.
Who's your player of the season this year?
Destiny Udogie.
Really? Destiny?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It is a good shout. There's been a few standout performers, hasn't there? Destiny, Mickey, Kuti, Sonny, Pedro Porro. It's funny that, isn't it, that we're talking about our best player of the season and I've just named the whole back four, but we've conceded so many goals this season. How does that work out?
So, my point is I would have said Vicario, but Vicario gets bullied too much when it comes to set pieces, and he lets in free kicks and penalties all willy-nilly. But Udogie, he does everything. He builds up the attack, he defends, he runs back, he goes up, he joins in the midfield sometimes, stops in goals, gets assists, and I don't think, apart from maybe Porro, did we get that from any other player?
You got Porro. Yeah, you got Porro, Udogie, Maddison for a stage of the season. But yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
So Edward, thank you so much for coming on today, mate. We'll see you next time. Have a good summer.
I will. Thank you, guys.
Up the Spurs. Big up to Edward, and big up to everyone in the chat, by the way. We've got we've got 450 of you in the chat today. And really excited to hear your thoughts on the outlook of the season. Link is pinned to the top of the live chat if you want to come on. And let's go to Ross, who's up next. How you doing, Ross? I think you're on mute, mate.
You can hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you now. How you doing, mate?
All right, great. Yep. Oh man. Hey, job done. Went in, got it done. I'm glad the season's over. I mean,
you and me both, Ross. You and me both.
Yeah. And you know what? Looking at the players, I think they are too. I mean,
yeah.
really do. I mean, those guys. I mean, they were scoring. I mean, they were celebrating. But I think those guys have just they're done. They're just ready to get it done and finish it up. But finished it up right. Went out, got the job done against the lower table team that's going to be relegated, and that's what they needed to do. And we secure 5th.
And in the last couple games, we've seen Decky in a new position, haven't we? In this kind of number 9, came on against City, had a few chances today, started in that position and scored a couple of goals. So, what do you make about his new kind of position?
I like it. I always thought he played better in the middle. I really do. He's got the ability, he's got the creativity and the skills to do it. In the wing, he's good, but he just gets too predictable out there. Cut inside. Everybody knows what he's going to do. Where he's in the middle, he's in there, and he can kind of just move around and find those open spaces, which is what he did perfectly. I mean, he just got into those spots and finished. Where it's an easy finish. He's not trying to come in from the side, and he's got all those guys in the way. So he did great, and I haven't really been as down on him. I think it's been rough for a lot of guys, but he in the middle, he can really showcase his skills, and it's just better suited for him.
Yeah, do you think that with Decky in the 9, obviously came on against Man City, positive display, scoring 2 goals today. Does that change the summer plans at all? Because we've been looking in the presses, they've all linked us with so many different strikers so far. Do you think that changes anything in terms of the summer plans?
No, I still think we need a 9. We need a true, classic, number 9 poacher, get in there, hold the ball up. I mean, Decky can play there and do it, but, we've kind of been doing it by committee, Son being in there, Richie when he's healthy, but we definitely, I mean, if it's told us anything, we need that. We need that, because we've just had to play so many other guys there. We need that true 9 in there to hold things up. So I don't think it changes any plans as far as that position goes for me.
So Ross, if you're taking the whole season as a whole now, got Europa League football, Ange's first season, played some nice football along the way. What would you rate Ange's first season out of 10?
I'd say about 8.5 for sure. I mean, how many of us, if you would have come to us and said we're going to finish fifth in fifth place this season, we'd have taken that. We'd have been like, oh my God, thank you, that's amazing. Because I personally had thought maybe we'd sneak into conference league at best if everything went great and we overachieved. New manager, Harry Kane out the door, all these other players coming in, new system that from a guy that's coming from the Scottish Premiership, don't know how it's going to work. I mean, it was great, and Celtic fans told us this would happen. They said you're going to have guys get hurt, guys are going to get tired, you're going to take some batterings, you're going to have some bad performances. It's just part of learning this system and learning how to play. It's a whole thing, and also this is the first time since I've been following the club that a manager's been here for a full season. I
It's
started
mad,
following
isn't it? Since Pochettino,
I
I
know.
think.
Yeah, that's the season I started seriously following, was the season he was sacked and Jose came in. So, and there's something to be said for that as well. And another thing, I saw a stat that we conceded less goals this season than last season. Doesn't seem like it, but we have. So, I mean, there's a lot of positive things to take out of this. Doesn't excuse some of the bad performances, but it's over now, and now we can move forward and look forward to see what's coming down the pike for us.
Who's been the most impressive player for you this season? Who's your player of the season?
Mickey Van de Ven.
Van de Ven. Come on.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, this kid comes in. He starts what? He was at the club a week when he starts the first game against Brentford.
I think it was just a few days, a
few days, and never looked back. I mean, never looked back. I mean, he's so fast. He's just so talented. He's so good. He's saved us many times. I mean, even today, that first goal. I mean, that amazing. He goes on the side. He saves it in from going out of bounds and slides that pass into Decky to finish. I mean, he's just taken right to playing left back. He's at center back, and he's like, yeah, I'll play out there at left back, and he's done great at it. I mean, he's a real gem, and I think that the sky's the limit for that kid. He could be a great. I really think he could.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about it with a lot of people in terms of, the standout performers of the season this year. You look at Mickey Van de Ven, Cuti Romero, Porro, Udogie, Vicario, Sonny. I mean, the majority of those players are all in the back line, but we've conceded so many goals. I mean, how do you work that one out?
Again, it's a system, playing with a high back line. A lot of guys aren't used to that. I mean, we have never played like that, and it's tough because then we've had our issues in the midfield, and that's part of it too, because you need that number 6, you need that defensive midfield to help out, come back, cut those passes out, and these guys oftentimes just have to dead sprint back because they get slipped, the ball comes through, and now they're in a foot race to do it. And I think they've done admirable considering all those times they've been left out like that, and it's amazing that we haven't conceded even more than we have, and I think it's credit to some of those guys for their effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you give a rating out of 10 for the season?
Yeah.
What did you give it again?
8.5 is what I
8.5. Yeah, I do I mean, for me, I think I'd probably give it a little bit lower just because of the way we started first half of the season to second half of the season and the drop off. Yeah. I mean, what'd you put the drop off down to in that second half of the season? And not just results though, but the way we were playing.
Oh, well, again, I remember the Chelsea game. 2 key players get hurt, 2 players get sent off. So we have to deal with that. Plus in the middle of the season, we have 3 players go for Africa Cup and Asia Cup. So there was no continuity there. We have guys hurt and guys filling in where they need to fill in at, and that's going to cause problems. That's going to cause issues. I think it's a lot of that. And fatigue, too, playing a new system where, and having the high back line and just getting used to all that is some of it. I mean, I'm not saying that's a complete excuse for everything. I mean, everybody's had their issues, but there's a lot of factors in there that I think people don't really pay attention to and look at when it comes to those things.
So a lot to look forward to next season. Hopefully the injuries don't hurt us like they did this season. A big summer ahead. So hopefully we'll speak to you over the summer. But thank you for all the support, yes, Ross, and thank you for continuing to come on every week.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Love you guys and love supporting you. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Ross. There's been a stat as well that Squawker have brought out saying that only 6 players now have scored 10 plus goals and provided 10 plus assists in three plus Premier League seasons, which is Eric Cantona, Wayne Rooney, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, Mohamed Salah, and now Heung-min Son.
Shows consistency, quality. We know what a good player we've got on our hands, and another assist today. I think he's had a stellar season over all things considered, and I'm thinking next season can be even better.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to our next guest. He goes by the name of Rocco. How you doing, Rocco, mate?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, my friend. What were your thoughts on the game today?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It showed that we can play on a consistent level like that, like we did against City.
It was nice to get 3 points finally. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Particularly a clean sheet as well.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I think Vicario did really well, and Dragoshin, I think he made a few mistakes, but he played really, really well today.
What did you make of, obviously, Decky, who got a double? He playing in a new striker position today. What did you think of him in that role?
I think he held up the play well, and I think he finished really well. I think that we should play him as a 9 next season, but we need to bring someone else in.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I've seen someone in the comments, I can't remember who it was, they likened Kulusevski in the 9 a bit to like the way Kai Havertz plays it. Could you see those similarities?
Yeah, yeah, he just dropped down a bit deeper, but had that, like, he was able to get back up into those positions where he could finish.
I mean, and looking forward onto next season, does this season, first step under Ange Postecoglou, finishing 5th, a lot of positives to take from it, but there were a lot of negatives as well throughout the season. Does this make you look forward to next season, or is there still a lot to work on?
I'm mixed. I think depending on what the transfer, like what happens in the transfer window, I'll be more excited because I think there's a lot of players that we need to ship off, and there's a lot of players that we need to bring in. And if Ange can show again, like he did last season, by bringing in the players that we need, and them performing well for us, then I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
If you take the season as a whole, Rocco, considering it's Ange's first season and all the problems we've had, finishing 5th, how would you rate that out of 10?
I think 7 out of 10. We never expected to be here. To be honest, we were a club in decline. We were a club that after Nuno, after Conte, after Mourinho, that we hadn't really done anything. And we'd just gone down since Poch. And it was a club that was slipping down the table. And just brought life into us.
Yeah, he really has reinvigorated not just the club, but the fan base as well. I don't know if you heard the Spurs fans in complete full voice today. Maybe something that was happening at the Etihad did have something to do with it. But yeah, it's great to see the Spurs fans consistently in full voice. Who's your player of the season this year?
A bit of a strange one, but I think Star. I think he's such a young player that's just came into our midfield. And although he's had slip-ups, he's played consistently well. For such a young player to come into the starting lineup almost every week has been amazing.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, Rocco. Well, thank you for your support. Thank you for coming on. And we'll see you next time, my friend.
Thank you.
Cheers. See you later, mate. Let's keep going now, and let's go to Stelios, Tottenham away. How you doing, Stelios?
How you doing, guys? You good?
All good, mate. Let me just put the volume up because you're a bit low.
Sorry about
yes,
that.
Stel.
I don't know why it's low. Is that better?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Thoughts on the game today? I know it was against Sheffield United side that have conceded over 100 goals this season, but yeah, talk to me about your thoughts. Kulusevski at the 9. What are your thoughts on that?
So, what I'd like to do is get the controversial bits out the way that fans like to call negative, right? Because we're not allowed to criticise anything. And then I want to end on all the positive stuff because I thought there was a bit of both. So,
okay.
I'm a bit gutted actually that Amir and Barnaby aren't on the show because I don't know if you've been watching all your post-match shows, but
Yeah, I've seen, Stel. Don't worry, I've seen.
Right, I made a bet with Amir. Amir, I want to see you soon.
What was the bet?
The bet was because I was saying that I'm absolutely done with Timo Werner and Brennan Johnson. I don't want to hear it. And he said to me, but still give it a chance. And I said, okay, I'll tell you what. We've got Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City coming up. If they turn up against those teams, I'll come on We Are Tottenham TV, hold up my hands and publicly apologise to everyone. And Amir, I'll apologise to you. And then he leaned over, he hugged Barnaby and said, we got him, we got him. Well, what happened in those next games? Werner did nothing, then got injured. Brennan Johnson, missing. So the bit I want to get out of the way, guys, I get all the faulting GAs and Werner's best dribbling and crossing, blah, blah, blah. We play with an attacking three. If you cannot score goals as an attacking forward in this system, and if you can't do it against the top 10 teams, which 80% of the time they fail to do, you're not good enough. You just sat there telling us about Son. He's broken another record, apparently. He's in the top 5 or 6 Premier League players for something, right?
Yeah.
That's what we need. And he hasn't even had a good season. We need to really bring in the kinds of players that this club deserves and we as fans deserves. And we've had them in the past. Klinsmann, Sheringham, Defoe, Keane, Berbatov, Kane, Son. That's the caliber we need. I'm not on board with Brennan Johnson. I stick to what I said when it got clipped on this channel and everyone came for me. I think I've been proven right. Brennan Johnson for me is a waste of money. And Timo Werner, if we sign him, guys, I stick to what I said back then. I will be and out if we sign him. I don't care because the ambition isn't there.
But Stelios, so Brennan Johnson's come in, first season, didn't have a pre-season. He's got 10 assists, 5 goals, I think it is. Yeah, I get your point that he hasn't done it against the top teams this season on a consistent basis. But, I mean, who has for us done it on a consistent basis? Even Son hasn't really done it against the top teams on a consistent basis this season. So is it not worth giving him a try? We've brought him in for big money. I think his season's been okay. Hasn't been nothing great. Hasn't been terrible. I think it's been okay. I think he deserves our support, and I think he deserves his spot on the team with what he's shown so far.
Ben. Oh, my goodness me. This is why Ben Davies is still here for 9 years. This is why Eric Dyer was here for 10 years.
This is his first season, Stelios. His first season.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough. The guy doesn't have the dribbling ability. He doesn't even miss half decent chances. He misses from 2 yards out, this guy. Another big miss today. He does it all. And Sheffield United, you just said, they've conceded over 100 goals and he can't score a pretty straightforward chance that a half decent forward should be putting away. Look, if the fan
Who's
base
to say he can't improve though, Stel? Like Heung-min Son in his first year, a lot of Spurs players wanted to sell him after the first year.
Mate, when you spend £50 million, you've got to be oven ready. Look at Van de Ven. We spent 45 million. Look at what we've got. When you spend that kind of money, you don't spend big money so that we can wait, we can be patient, let's see what happens. You spend big money, and within the first 2 or 3 months, you want to see that this player's got something about them. Mickey van der Ven's shown it to us. Romero, 50 million. Took him 2-3 months. Look at the kind of player we've got. When you spend big money, you can't be doing that and then saying, right, we've spent a lot, give him a chance, be patient. I'm not having it. You were never going to convince me.
Still, where I'm at with it with Brennan Johnson, I want to see us sign another right winger that comes in better than Brennan Johnson, that comes in and ahead of him in the pecking order, right? That's what I want to see happen this summer. But I don't think it's right to just completely just cast him aside and say, oh, he's not good enough. He can grow into that role, and I want to see him fight for his spot next season in the team. And I think we need to sign a starting right winger in the summer. That's where I'm at with it.
I've had 25 years of Levy. I had 10 years of Sir Alan Sugar. I was even old enough to remember 5 years of Irving Scholar. I'm done with the patience and waiting, Ben and Sim. I guess it depends where you're starting from, okay? You guys are younger than me. Maybe you've got a bit more patience in the tank. My tank's empty, guys. I'm moving over to electric power. I can't wait anymore. I'm transitioning. I want this club this summer to say, right, let's start fixing our issues with some top players. And the ones that aren't at the level that none of our main rivals would buy, start phasing them out. look, if Brennan Johnson comes good, I'll come on this show next year, hold up my hands and do it all again. But I haven't been there yet because so far I'm being proven right with this guy. For me, Timo Werner's, Brennan Johnson's, Højbjerg's, Skips, Ben Davies, they're all in the same bracket. None of these players would sign for Arsenal, for Man City, for Liverpool, but they come to Spurs and we've got to sit in them and say, yeah, give it a chance. Let's see what happens. I can't do it, Ben. I can't.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on from Brennan.
What are the positive points you had, Stel?
Well, there's one more controversial, but it's a quick one. It's just a very quick one.
Go on. Yeah.
Listen, I've got to get this off my chest, guys, right? I was one of those fans that went to White Hart Lane on Tuesday and I wanted Spurs to lose, right? 45 years, I have always backed Spurs. No matter how crap we've been, how good we've been, I've always backed us. 99.9% of my Spurs life, I've always wanted us to win. I'm allowed 0.01%, that one-off game, to say I don't want us to win. And our fans were so divided.
Did you want Man U to win in 99 as well?
Okay, 98% of the time, I've wanted Spurs to win. But like today, I'm looking at our fans, the away fans. And by the way, we've got the best away fans in the country. No Big Six club wins nothing, but yet gets the full backing of the fans every season the way ours do. We back this team every single year and we win nothing. That is what you call the best support out there. And they were in the stand today and they were all singing, Bottlers again, ole, ole. Bottlers again, ole, ole. Now, I hope all those fans that were singing that remind themselves of us fans on a Tuesday night that wanted to lose so that we could sing that song, so that we could get to that place. And I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was so divisive what happened on Tuesday. And the media are 100% to blame for that. They created it and everyone got sucked in. But I just wanted to remind all Spurs fans, you know, we're singing today, we're celebrating, the memes are out there against Arsenal, we're laughing at Arsenal. This is why we did it on Tuesday. This is why we had to lose that game. Doesn't mean we don't support Spurs. It's just we knew what it meant. If them scumbags from South London lifted the trophy today, it would have been horrendous. So, okay.
Still, given Villa's result today, is there any regrets about Tuesday?
No, not at all, Sim. Because you know, I'm one of those fans that believes in stepping stones, and with Ange, I don't want him to do what Poch did. No patience for pieces that don't belong in the pathway, and Brennan Johnson doesn't belong in that pathway. But I believe that we should try and win an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup, and we should win those first before we challenge for the league. And likewise, I think we should try and win a European Conference League and a Europa Cup before we go for the Champions League, because that was a mistake we made under Poch. And if we're going to try and do the Poch thing again, which is what I'm guessing Ange is here for, to see if we can repeat that process but get it over the line, then let's try and pick up a domestic cup. Let's try and win a Europa Cup. Let's establish ourselves as winners and then say, okay, now go for the league. Now go for the Champions League. I don't want to make that big leap. So I'm actually really happy that we're in the Europa Cup, because I think that's the right next step for us as a club. We weren't in Europe. Next step is get back into Europe. Let's see if we can do well there and then make the jump afterwards. So, Sim, you're right. By the way, big up to Oliver Glasner. What a manager he's proven to be at Crystal Palace. Like, phenomenal job. So, yeah, look, I'm okay with fifth, guys. I think it's the best thing for us. I know we might not have as much money to buy players, but as a step-by-step process, I think it's the right way forward. I mean, do you agree with that, or do you two would have wanted to see Champions League?
I mean, I think everyone wants to be in the Champions League. You always like dining at the top table. But I've been saying for the past 3 months now that I'm happy with Europa League football. I think it's where we're at the moment. I think it's a competition where we can realistically win when you're looking at the teams in it next season. No dropouts from the Champions League as well, which is going to be massive. So I've got no problem with being in the Europa League next season whatsoever. I really don't.
Are you the same, Sim?
Yeah. I wanted Champions League. I wanted us to try our best to get in there, but at the end of the day, we weren't good enough. The collapse at the end of the season has shown that. And I'm not disparaging Europa League. I think Europa League is a good competition to win. And if we can win it next season or give it a really good go, I'm more than happy with that. To be honest, obviously, the fact that Villa lost means we could have got it on the final day. We probably would have got it on the final day.
It would have been a different case though if we would have won against Man City though.
It would have been, but the score was 5-0. It wasn't close. So maybe it would have been like
because
1-0.
John McGinn was hungover. That's why.
Yeah, probably. You're right. It probably would have been a different game, but still, I wouldn't have put it past Palace to win that, even if Villa were at full strength. So it is what it is. I'm for one. I'm happy being in Europa League and having Arsenal not having their first title in 20 years, rather than the opposite. So no regrets. No regrets.
Stel, just one more thing on the whole title thing this season. Did you see all the clips going round of the trophy rehearsal at the Emirates yesterday?
What an embarrassment of the highest level. How dare Arsenal fans call us shameless for wanting us to lose when they're practicing lifting a trophy that they didn't even lift? I mean, you can't write this. What planet are they on? Anyway, look. We know what they're like. Let them have their fun and games.
And also, all these people are coming out saying like this whole thing is unprecedented. No one's ever wanted a team to lose before. I mean, I saw clips yesterday online of Liverpool back in the early 90s at Anfield against Blackburn, cheering on Blackburn goals at Anfield because they didn't want United to win the league. I mean, this happens. This happens, guys, in rivalry.
Arsenal Fan TV, when Arsenal played Chelsea in the Europa Cup final and we played Liverpool in the Champions League final the same week, everyone on Arsenal Fan TV said we would rather lose to Chelsea in a European final than see Tottenham go and beat Liverpool. We would take a loss against Chelsea if it means Spurs losing to Liverpool. They are hypocrites. They are all hypocrites. I don't care what they say. I've seen it all. Every rival fan would have done the same thing. If it was Rangers, Celtic, Boca Juniors, River Plate, Everton, Liverpool, AC Milan, Inter Milan, they all would have done the same thing, guys. We just can't live, especially if you live in North London like me, your neighbours, going to work, the high streets, cars right now would be beeping around, red flags, red smoke bombs. Mate, I can't. I live in enough pain supporting Spurs to have that as well.
The amount of Arsenal shirts I saw this morning walking around was absolutely nuts. It made me sick. But anyway, enough of that. Get on to the positives, Stel.
Yeah, big positives are one of the criticisms a lot of us fans, including myself, have had with Ange is whether or not he'll adapt. And none of us have said Ange out. Well, I know I haven't, but I've said, Ange, you've got to adapt to certain moments in games and to certain teams that we play against. We can't just play exactly the same way. I'm not saying don't play possession football. I'm not saying don't play with wing backs inverted. What I'm saying is sometimes just invert one wing back instead of two. Sometimes drop your high line a little bit further back. Just adapt it to the games that we play when we are up against different opposition with a different plan of beating us. We saw it against Man City and we saw it today. He can adapt. And for me, that is a massive positive because he'll go into next season knowing what each team roughly is about, knowing roughly how they approach games, and he's proven to himself, which is the most important thing, forget us, he's got to prove it to himself that he can adapt to play an opponent. And I'm very encouraged by that. I'm actually doing next week an end of season review on Ange from a coaching perspective. It's going to be a cracking video that I'm going to make. I'm putting all my coaching knowledge into it, and I think you're all going to be pleasantly surprised with what I have to say in that. But that for me is a massive positive because that's my biggest concern with Ange. Bringing in top quality players, whether he signs them off or not, I would always put that on the board and Levy because I've seen the same pattern for 25 years. If that changes, it's because the board have changed, not because Ange has made them change. But the things Ange can control, which are the tactics and being able to adapt, I'm very encouraged from the past two game, guys, I have to say. And if you notice today, Van de Ven didn't invert as much as what Udogie normally does. And I think that helps us. Okay, it's Sheffield United. They're not the best team. But these are the little things that we're looking for. The way we didn't have a super high line against Man City, and for 60 minutes or so, we contained them. You know, that's a promising sign. If we can add some real creativity, some clinical finishing across the front three, and a commanding midfielder, suddenly we're a challenge for pretty much most teams. Whether we can sustain it's a different story. You need a big squad for that, and that's going to take us a few years. But his ability to adapt, guys, I'm really happy to see it, because I needed to see that, because I was beginning to lose faith with it, if I'm honest with you.
So Stal, if you take this Ange's first season now, if you take it all as a whole, what are you marking it out of 10? What are you giving his first season out of 10?
All right, good question. I bear it in mind that I'm a little bit more harsher than what most fans are in terms of how I critique. I'll probably say a 7 out of 10. But bear in mind, a 7 out of 10 is a first-class honours if you go to university. A 7 out of 10 is an A in an exam. Look, I take 1 mark out of 10 off because of the Carabao Cup. I take another mark off because we didn't even lay a finger on Man City in the FA Cup. And look, we did bottle top 4, so I take another mark off. But he lost Harry Kane, but we also spent 220 million, so that kind of balances between a 7 and an 8, if I'm fair. 7. So, look, I'll be nice, 7.5. But I think that's a really good first start. For the first season, I think that's pretty good.
I agree. Who's your player of the season this year?
I'm not going to go with Mickey van der Ven. For me, it's Christian Romero, and I'll tell you why, guys. I'll tell you why. A couple of weeks ago, we had this raging debate between us and Arsenal fans over who's better, Romero, Van der Ven, Saliba, or Gabriel. And I was actually stunned. When you bring up all the stats of what you look for in a defender, and there's about 30 or 40 of them, you know Romero is the second best out of those 4.
Wow.
Just behind Gabriel. Gabriel came first, then it was Romero, then Saliba and Van der Ven were pretty equal, but Saliba just edged it. But I was actually stunned. And when I looked into it a bit more, I think we've completely undervalued what a good season Romero's had, because a lot of us got caught up in all the banter and, people just crapping on us because of his red cards and the odd suspension here and there. But since that last red card, he's been top. He hasn't been perfect, which is why Gabriel finished above him. But aerial duels, ground tackles, successful passes, forward passes, dribbling, defensive blocks. If you go through all the metrics, Romero's had a very, very, very good season. Don't let anyone from a rival fan try and crap on Romero, guys. We've got a top defender there. There's a reason Argentina won the World Cup, and he was part of the reason, not the reason. And if we're going to be successful, Romero is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, it's just mad though, isn't it, trying to compare those two to Arsenal's two, because they've had the best defence in the league this season and we've had one of the worst, right? So how do you even start to assess that? Is it the midfield that's been the problem? Because you look at the defence, we're happy with all 4 of those defenders: Porro, Udogie, Van der Ven and Romero.
Well, I think Porro and Udogie defensively aren't as good as maybe what we think they are. They need to improve. Porro's improved a lot this season defensively, but he's still got to progress. Udogie defensively this year has been a bit suspect at times, if I'm honest with you. But he is a player that's shown me enough to say he will develop, and I can see a progression from him. I think a number 6, every Spurs fan will admit, we need a proper 6 to give us that protection. But I think a lot of the games playing the high line has given us more bad statistics from a defensive perspective than anything else. I think the tactic and us trying to learn the tactic going forward is the biggest issue that we've had. And also, look, just the stubbornness of not wanting to adapt from set pieces was a killer. As soon as we adapt, guess what? We're not too bad at it now. So I think that's more of a tactical reason as to why our defence hasn't looked as good. Because like you say, we've got defenders we're very happy with. So what is it? I think it's a mixture of tactics and number 6. If we get a number 6, and as Andrew's proven now he can adapt, I fully expect our defensive stats to be much, much better next season.
We were talking, me and Sim, before about the ambitions for next season. We were saying consolidating a place in the top 4, getting a trophy behind our belt, whether it be the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Europa League. Do you think that those should be our ambitions next season, or are you looking a bit higher than that in the league?
look, I'm not one of these people that thinks we're going to challenge for the league next season. We've played one game a week, and even then we struggled to get into the top 4 in the end. Next season, 2 games a week. Plus, I want to see us do better in the cups. You're looking at least 10 to 15 more games next season potentially. Plus, we've got to get rid of a lot of players. That's a lot of players that might come in that are going to have to learn the system as well. I think it's another transitional season next year to some degree. So I would just like us to do the absolute best we can to win the Carabao Cup and go as far as we can in the Europa. And fingers crossed, who knows, we get to a Europa Cup final and anything can happen. But I think the FA Cup will be one step too far because a lot of the big clubs take that serious. And I don't know if we can quite compete with them next season at the latter stages. And the league, I think the league's going to be even harder next season. So for me, go for the Europa Cup, go all out for the Carabao Cup, and wherever you finish in the league, just do the best you can. I would prioritise some silverware next year because I think that breeds belief in the system. It breeds belief in the manager. And my God, us as fans, what will that do for us in terms of getting behind them the season after that? We'd be buzzing for it. So just go for some trophies, Tottenham. Just try and get some silverware in the cabinet.
Big up. Thanks for coming on, Stel. Thanks for your continued support throughout the season as well. And we'll see you next time.
Butlers, ole, ole, ole. Butlers, ole, ole, ole.
See you later, Stel.
Peace.
Big up to Stelios once again. Let's bring on our next guest. He goes by the name of Arsh. Arsh, how's it going, my friend?
Hi guys, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
This is my first time here with you guys.
Welcome, my friend. Where are you calling from?
I am currently in Canada, but I am basically in India.
Are you in Toronto?
No, I am in Winnipeg.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask if you knew Brian Daigle. I knew Canada's such a small place.
Yeah, I did. So I just want to talk about like 2-3 things because it's my first time. I just want to talk about that. So first of all those people who are saying that about Ange to Ange out, I think they are like totally insane or crazy. Because for me, if a new manager came and it's his first season, he got the best player in the world, like in the Europe, get out of his team, and he's trying to build a system. You can see last few years we were playing so defensively, and now he's trying to get a attacking system in this team, which is very difficult, I think. And to do that, and it takes time. We need to give him at least one season without thinking about his like Ange out and all of these things. He needs time to inherit that mentality into this young team. For me, it's like really it makes me upset when people say Ange out, Ange out. It's like, what the hell is it is coming from?
I think Ange out is obviously ridiculous, but what do you say to fans who are just concerned about the way we collapsed essentially at the end of the season?
I totally understand that. I think that was a form which is, I think, normal for me, because every team goes through it, and I'll take it. I won't give an excuse about that. I'll think that it's a new manager, it's a new young team, and if I'll say last year, I think this year only 2 or 3 players we are playing in the starting 11, which were playing the last year.
Yeah.
This is a totally new team, new young team, and to do that with this new young team, to play a new system and still get top 5, I think it's incredible for Ange.
Yeah, Arsenal. It's not just like it was 1 year where we've been terrible. I mean, since Pochettino left, it's been like terrible year after terrible year. Maybe one good half a season under Antonio Conte when we got Champions League, but it's just been we've completely lost our way for so many years now. And he's brought the identity back to Tottenham. He's brought a good feeling back around the place, and yeah, maybe it wasn't the end of the season that we all wanted, or the second half of the season that we all wanted, but I still think it's just the beginning. Exactly. Look at Mikel Arteta in his first 2 years at Arsenal. 8th, 5th. It took him how many years to make Champions League football? So you got to stick with the process, especially when you can see good signs, don't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're totally correct. Yeah. And I think about if I have to talk about today's game, I love Dragusin. I loved his aggression. I love the way he played. I love he got to big games. And if you remember, there was a corner and he was defending Vicario, and he just pushed off the Sheffield United player. I was like laughing at that time. I need that. I need that in my players, like to give that kind of aggression. Like go out, like get the hell out of here. Like I have to protect Vicario if he can't. Like so. At that moment I remember Mourinho's comment that I need some like
You need to
I
be
don't need good
horrible.
yeah, I don't need good good boys in my team. I need like bitches and cunts to be like. Yeah, I want that. Yeah, that was like best moment in the game for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Kulusevski in the 9. What are you thinking?
I think he has done well in his last two games, and he has shown that he can do different things as well. So I think, but we still need a proper striker. Yeah, after losing Kane, we really need a proper striker to give like better chance in the few coming years. Yeah, we need that.
I think we can all agree on that. So
Yeah.
we've asked every caller this question. What are you rating the season out of 10?
Uh, that's I was thinking about it, and I think it should be like between 7 or 7.5. Yeah,
Seven, seven and a half.
yeah, we have a good season.
And player of the season?
For me, it's I have two actually. For me,
Go
player
on.
of the season is for me it's Pedro Porro. I think he has played the whole season or most of the games he played, and he has shown consistency. He has shown the growth, and he scores. He give assists. His passing, his everything is like really good. So for me, it's Pedro Porro, and the other player is Sar. I love Sar. I see the growth in him, and I think last few games I see a sense of calmness in his game, like the way he passes the ball, the way he handles it. It like I'm seeing some kind of like calmness. He's like more compassion, like composure in his game. Is I was seeing that also. Like for me, these two players are like for me, yeah, the best
Yeah, it's
players.
actually bad because we've asked this question to everyone. I think everyone said someone different. Stel said Kuti. Ross said Mickey van der Ven. You're saying, and we had a Sar as well. And then you're
Yeah, yeah,
saying Sar and Pedro Porro. So
yeah.
anyway, Ash, thank you so much for coming on today. And hopefully we'll see you again very soon.
Yeah, sure. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Big up to Ash. And all right,
go.
it's time. It's time. We put him in the predicted lineup for the North London Derby in the number 10. And he goes by the name of Mr. Box Office. What's going on, Alex?
Well, I just need to just get straight to it.
No
Like,
chit chat,
firstly,
no? No, how are you?
I didn't even bother, bro. You know how it goes every single time, Ben. You know what I mean? Sorry, but you know what I mean. It's like I don't even need to remind you what my name is like. You know what I mean? You know, it's like it's just the box office, the main event, the professor of truth and entertainment, the ratings killer, everyone's nightmare, but everyone's guilty pleasure at the same time, and that's it. If you don't know, get to know. By the way, I didn't watch the game. I was on the beach like most of the Tottenham players this season. Because I've only watched the highlights. Nothing really is going to be learning from this game. Let's be honest here. I'm sorry. Anybody telling me that you're going to learn anything from this game is absolutely nonsense. I mean, Sheffield United are literally on their holidays. They're relegated in the Championship. So come on now. Honestly, the only thing I need to come on and say right now, and I'm gonna put a spoiler alert out there for next season. I don't think he's gonna last next season. I think he's walking next season. I think he's walking, and I'll tell you why he's walking. Ange Postecoglou. The expectations of this club are down here. His expectations are up here. Ange from the very, very beginning said, at the beginning of the season, said he wants to win the league. Now, can someone tell me what is our expectations, the club's expectations this season for the next 5 years? Can someone tell me? Can someone tell me what?
We have to get to that stage. We have to.
Yeah, but what is the club's expectations? Tell me.
Well, it's the near expectations. The first expectation is going to be top 4.
You can't give me an answer. That's what you're giving me.
What?
By what you just gave me.
I gave you an answer.
Because that's not really an answer, isn't it? Really? Because let's be honest, we haven't heard that from their mouth, haven't we? You know what I mean? So this is the problem. there's a
What do you think the
discontent straight away.
expectation is, Alex?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what their expectation is. That's the
But
problem.
Ange has told you what the expectation
No,
is.
but what's the club's expectations? That's the point.
You can only
What
go
is
on
the
what
club's
Ange has said, and
expectation?
Ange has said he wants
No,
to win
yeah,
the
but
league.
the manager shouldn't be telling you what his expectations are. What is the club's expectations? If a club expectation, example, let's put Newcastle on the table right now. Yeah, I know what their expectations is in the next 5 years. Oh, they
What
want
is
to
it?
win the league. That's from the club. That's from the club. That is from the club. Yeah. So that's what they should be aiming for right now. Arsenal's expectations, you know exactly what their expectations is because they kept. And by the way, it's funny because now everyone's talking the same way I've been saying since June, and everyone called me an absolute idiot. Everyone's now giving the example of Arsenal. Arsenal's example of Arteta. Yeah, and who was the first person saying that? Was Mr. Box Office the main event? That's who was talking. That's who was talking about it.
Have you sung Ange's name yet, Alex?
Pardon? No,
Have you
I'm not
sung
going to
his-
sing Andy's name because I'm not a fool. I'm not a fool. I don't like him. I don't like him.
You don't
And
like
Ben,
him.
you know what to say that anyway. Because by the way, yeah, big up to Hotspur Hippie, Paul Hotspur Hippie, because he's known in 20 years and he still understands what I'm talking about, and he's never said anything to me. Yeah, like Hoover, like Asthmatic, they respect Mr. Box Office. Yeah, understand what I'm talking about. And even now, I feel sorry for those two people. Yeah, Kuva and Hotspur Hippie, because they backed this guy through the hilt. Yeah, they're angry because they can see it. They can see it. They can
What can
see
they
this is not
see?
going to work.
Why?
They can see this is not going to work.
Why
Because
not?
regardless what signings we're going to get, the ambitions of the club are not matching the ambitions of the manager. That's the problem. The club have to make sure that they are hitting the same point of what the manager is. Tuesday was just a little snippet. Yeah, he was gagging to say something a long time, Ange Postecoglou, because a couple of weeks before, months ago, yeah, we heard something from your sources, a journalist, the big tier ones saying, "Oh, Ange is struggling to trying to persuade the clubs to change their mentality." So it's quite clear. It's quite clear.
It's
And I'm
never gonna
sorry,
happen in
until
a
I
year,
see
is it?
something
It's never gonna
different,
happen in a
until
year.
I see, no, but again, Sim, you're not understanding what I'm saying, though. Until the club show some ambition, right, and stick with the process, right, and by the way, again, I know this is why I know it's not going to work as well. Where's Scott Munn? Where's Scott Munn? Yeah, where is he? Where's he telling? Why is it I have to hear from Ange Postecoglou? Where's Scott Munn telling me it's all okay now? Yeah, be back our manager. Where is he? Where is he? Arsenal with Arteta though, he has two bad seasons. He has two bad seasons. What does Arsenal do? Put a contract on the table for Arteta that says, "You're our man. You are our man." And then you telling me to back this manager when this club can't tell me that they're backing the manager. Don't tell me to back the manager if you can't tell me that.
You're a fan.
You're
not. You're a fan, though. You're a fan.
Bro, tell me, no, you get paid all that money, and you got to tell me. You tell me you back the manager. You tell me you back the manager. Then I back it.
Well, how do they do that? God, maybe make a public statement?
Well, no, you make a public statement. You make yourself known to show yourself. You tell yourself to make yourself known. Yeah? That's what I'm talking about. Then I believe. Yeah? Because I'm done. I was done after Mourinho came in. I was done after Mourinho came in. So you tell me No, but bro, I'm just saying to you, right? If you show leadership, that's what I'm talking about now. Like big businesses, big owners, yeah, big owners say make leadership, show leadership, yeah. So if you're gonna show leadership and tell me you back this manager, you're gonna give this manager time. Tell me,
Alex. I kind of get somewhat where you're coming from, because I was talking about it last week. I was talking about the mentality at this football club has got it stems from the top, right? And we haven't had the right mentality for however many years, 23 years or whatever it's been, yeah? I completely agree with that. But when you're looking at a manager that comes in, he says the right things, he does the right things, we're on a process, we're building in the right direction, you've got to back the manager.
I heard it before, Ben. I've heard this before. I'm 36 years old, bro. I've heard this before after I've heard this so many times, bro. Yeah? Right? I'm sorry, unfortunately, it comes down to that moment, unfortunately. Yeah, and I'm
So
sorry.
what's the point
until
of
I see
following the
it,
club then? What's the
But,
point?
but I follow the club because I love football, bro. That's a stupid question to ask me, bro. Because I follow the club, I'm a stupid because I love football. That's what the point. You see me at the staging, bro. I pay my money, bro.
I know
Yeah,
I do. I see you
but,
every
but the
week.
point, but the point is, I'm making at the moment, yeah, is that I need this club to show some bottle and show some leadership. Yeah, because I'm fed up. I mean, the same thing's telling me, oh, we've had a good season this season. I've heard that how many times? And that's why, after up from a child to now, I'm done. I'm done. And that's it. Yeah. I need to get off because Brian needs to come on and that's it. You know how it goes every
Wait,
single time. I
Alex,
know
one minute,
it's not
one
personal.
second. Gotta say, Alex, just give a rating out of 10 for the season. What's your rating? Out of 10?
Five, because there's
5.
no expectations this season. No expectations. There's nothing to expect this season. It's all on next season. Yeah,
Player
like
of the
I've been
season,
saying so many
Alex?
times. And
Player of the
by the way,
season?
your manager said it as well. Yeah, Vicario, and he's lucky because he's got to be better next season, like everyone else, and that's it. It's nothing against you guys. You know, I love you guys, and that's it. You know how I'm gonna do it every single time, and that's it. But yeah, unfortunately, the audience, you're not gonna like me. Yeah, you know how I go every single time. I say it straight up to the face, and that's it. I'm out of it. I'm done. Have a good holiday, and that's it. I'm back on tour, and that's it. I'm done.
Have a good summer, Alex. We'll speak to you soon. That's Mr. Box Office, the whirlwind, in and out. Let's go on to our next guest, and he goes by the name of Mr. Brian Daigle, second caller from Canada today. How you doing, Brian?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all good and well. Before we get into this, I just want to say to you two, once again, thank you guys for another brilliant season of day-to-day non-stop content, whether people agree with me, disagree with you, whether people in the chat don't like me or whatever, no matter what, you two put in the graft, put in the hours, travel up and down the country. I don't know if anyone said it, but people know that with you two and me, it's more than a friendship, it's a brotherhood, it's a family, and you two non-stop put in the graft, and thank you for another season of brilliant content.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you for the consistency. Oh, here's Bobby K. Here's Bobby K. Here's Bobby K. And little K.
We are Tottenham TV. Hello, fellas. Big up in the chat. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Good to see you guys.
No, what I was saying, Brian, no, thank you as well for the consistent support. Whenever one of us is not around, you're there to pick up the slack as well. So thank you as well.
It's always a pleasure. I'll give you one bit of advice. If Cody Mack ever makes it over to England, never ever leave your phone unattended, because I went out for a vape, realised what I did, and he put Levy in on my Twitter, and it got deleted very, very quickly, but it has been screenshotted. There was a load of us. We've just come out now to have some oysters and some dessert. It's been a good day. We've won, but yeah, just don't leave your phone alone.
Did you say oysters?
Yeah, I love my oysters, mate. I love my oysters. So we've just been to
He's fancy, you know.
I am. So we just had some oysters. Been to the food market. Listen, we're back in Europe, mate. I celebrate in style with some oysters.
Yeah, Brian, talk to me about the game today. 3-0 away at Bramall Lane. I was speaking to you before the game. You thought maybe this was a game we were going to slip up.
Yeah, no, what I thought is, originally I thought being Spursy would probably take points off a City and then drop them here. But obviously it worked the other way around. But I have to say, in the first half, how Sheffield United didn't score is beyond me. I think it just goes to show how bad they are, that they didn't take the opportunity. Some of them they cut through us like butter. But listen, there's no doubt the last two performances, one was at the creme de la creme and one was at the bottom. But there's a lot to look forward to with the style of play. It looked a lot better. Dragusin, I've been impressed with these two games. It's a clean sheet. It's something we've been after for ages. We scored in the first half, something we've been after for ages. A striker or a forward player scored the first goal, first time in ages. And I've been one of the ones at the head of the queue for criticising Kulusevski. All right, it was only Sheffield United, but he done more in this game than he has in the last few, hasn't he?
Kulusevski's world class.
Yeah, all right, you can tell I'm with Bobby.
We can sell him.
You can tell I'm with Bobby, yeah.
Brian, you were talking about Kulusevski before in the last few shows, saying you don't know if he has a place in this team. But do you reckon maybe we found one in the last couple of games?
Do you know what? Listen, today he definitely showed. The first one he put away was a fantastic finish. Absolutely fantastic finish. But again, this is Sheffield United. Can he do that against the big teams? And that's my concern. Now do the club look and say, right, oh no, we might have a striker here, or we might have found a role for him. Listen, he was a lot brighter in the coolest FC I want to see. And what I really want to see, because like I said, Simeon, when I was with you last week, there really is a good player in there. It's just finding a place for him in this Ange's system, and the wings certainly aren't here. Can you gauge it for a performance against a relegated Sheffield United? I don't know. But it certainly was a lot more positive than we've seen recently from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the outlook of the season, we all know the problems that we had coming into the season. New manager, new system, completely new way of playing, a lot of new players to bed in. Harry Kane goes out the door in the eve of the season. How do you assess now the season, now it's all said and done?
Like I said, I think it's just the way we finished this season. You know, we can all go about the facts and stats of the turn of the year hasn't been good, the amount of games we went without keeping a clean sheet, conceding the first goal, losing that 4 off the bounce and everything. That's all part of it. But listen, I back Ange. I hope the club back Ange. I really hope the club back Ange. Most importantly, we've completed a season with a manager. Let's all not forget that first. Exactly. Which is, listen, mate, as funny and as ridiculous as it sounds, it's something of a success at Tottenham with our past history. And I hope he is fully back, because I do want him to succeed. And I think he can succeed if we can get the players out, players in. I will give him all the time he needs. I just hope the club back him and give him the support he needs.
So what do you rate the season out of 10, Brian?
I'm between 6.5, 7. I think I'm more on the 6.5. I don't.
Lowest of all the other fans.
Lowest mark we've had so far.
Yeah, but that's just like I said, because it promised so much. And like I said to you, like I went on all these channels, that my success gauge for the season was to finish the season with the manager complete and to take the cup competition seriously. And obviously, that was essential to me more than the league. And we didn't do it. We didn't do it. Potentially, it could have been as high as an 8 or a 9. If it's by faith in Ange, it's up there with an 8 and a 9. But how the season you look at it, Maddison didn't really finish the season or the second half of the season, which you could say with a lot of the players. So the potential's there, and if everyone had reached their potential, I would easily have given it an 8 or a 9. But I just think there's something to build on and something to improve on. And people may not agree with anything I say, but stay consistent. And I had my metrics for the season, and the latter part of taking the cup seriously wasn't taken. So that's why it's a little bit lower for me.
In this next question I'm about to ask you, every single person that's called in so far has said a different player. So who's your player of the season so far?
All right, Ben, I'll say part of the song, and then I know you're going to know the second part. Whoa, Big Mickey.
Van der Ven.
Whoa, Big Mickey.
Van der Ven. He's big, he's fast.
Van der Ven, you won't get past
Van der Ven.
Oh, sorry, Bobby's trying to show his Van der Ven shirt.
We can
in
see
the background.
Listen,
yeah, listen, to me, everyone knows my love affair with Jan Vertonghen. This guy, to me, is just absolutely elite. I think, like I've said to you before, I think Pedro Porro is the most improved player at the club, hands down. And we all know when I was with you and I started the season at Man U, on my hands and knees, dreading him being a right back. He's really, really impressed me, and another belter he scored today. But for me, I think if we look at all those injuries, if Mickey van der Ven had been fit for only if he'd had the one injury, not the two, I think we're looking at Champions League. I think we're looking at a different rating. To me, he is pivotal to everything. So for me, it's Van der Ven just ahead of Porro.
Thank you for finally jumping on the bandwagon. I've been trying to get him on there for a while. Everybody knows I've got a mad man crush, and I'm going to leave the wife for Van der Ven one day. But that's between me and Mickey.
There you go.
Bobby, what would you rate this season out of 10? I want to know your rating.
Honestly, I would. If you're going to look at the overall season, for me, I'm going to give it an 8 because expectations were very low, especially in things were dismal from the very beginning. We got a lot of ups and downs and stuff like that. But I look at, did we finish in a higher spot than we did last year? Yes, we did. Did we do that in losing a manager and our greatest player pretty much ever, arguably? Yes, we did. A lot of changes, a lot of fresh faces came in, a lot of injuries as well to deal with that obviously impacted the way things went. I honestly sitting here securing Europa. We've got Europe next year as well. We've got more competition to go into. A little bit of money comes in now with that. It's just a matter of let's just hope that they don't do the traditional thing that they've done in the summer. Let's just hope it's not rinse and repeat and the proper changes are made. This guy has made it very clear that he wants to instill a winning mentality from top to bottom. And if he can do that and he can achieve that, then there's absolutely no reason for us not to be pushing forward. And we went from 8th to 5th, so we are pushing forward. We're going in the right direction. Let's just keep hoping we go that way. And next year, obviously, we know the pod is on.
I'm going to ask both of you this question just to finish off. If we could spend big money on one player, not one player, but one position, what position are you bringing in?
6.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying 6 is wise, but this is the thing. Hans doesn't play with the 6, so I think Richarlison is off. So I'm going to say striker. I think Richarlison is off. I've spoken to you guys behind the scenes about it and why. And if he does go, we need 2 strikers, but we definitely need one to be a big striker. So as much as I think a 6 is necessary, but I don't think Ange's going to use it like we all wanted to, like a Paulinho. I think it's got to be a striker.
If Richie goes, then yeah, there's no argument, striker there. But if it's based on adding to the current squad we had, then for me it's 6 still.
I agree with you, Bobby. But thank you so much for all your constant support throughout the season,
Great to
guys.
see you, boys.
Yeah, really good to see you. Bobby, we don't see you on the channel no more. You got to come on more.
He doesn't let me come on the phone. He's just like, sorry, I'm in the queue. I get in the queue. There's 97 people waiting, and
that's my fault.
Of course.
We're just about to have a bit of a domestic. So we'll leave you be. But once again, guys, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, and I just want to thank you once again for being the absolute elite of the elite of channels, for letting anyone come on, have their say with anything they want to, whether people agree with or not. You are the benchmark that everyone needs to imitate and try to emulate. And just well done for another tremendous season.
Much love, Brian. I'll speak to you very soon. Bobby, we'll speak to you soon as well. And
sounds good. Take care, boys. All the best.
Enjoy the oysters, guys. Enjoy the oysters.
Will do. See you later, boys.
See you later, mate. All right, that was Bobby and Brian. Next up is Ian JD. How you doing, Ian?
Very well, thank you, guys. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. I've kind of just relieved that the season's over, to be honest. It's been a long, hard slog this season, a lot of ups and downs, but I'm definitely much in the thinking that there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I almost wanted the season to end a little while ago. We're going on that bad run, and I was kind of just wanted to pull the plug. I was terrified Arsenal were going to win the league, and I was done with it. Absolutely done with it. I really was.
Yeah, well, it ended in a good way in terms of beating Sheffield United. I mean, obviously we expect to win that game, but in terms of what you saw today, a bit of flexibility from Ange, starting Kulusevski up front, obviously Van der Ven playing back on the left, playing Bentancur in the 6, which he hasn't done too many times this season as well. So what have you learned from today, do you think?
Well, I was getting slightly worried. I mean, I kind of agree with what Stel was saying a little bit earlier. I was getting really worried about Ange and his inflexibility and not playing Van der Ven on the left, or maybe even going 3 at the back and, just trying something different. And he was just so stubborn with it. So it was nice to see over the last couple of games that we've changed slightly, and it's actually worked very well. So it looks like he can adapt the system, and maybe he's learned a little bit that he can adapt the system, because I was kind of fearing for him. I think if he wasn't going to change the system, almost what Mr. Box Office said, I could see him a bad start next season, and I think he's gone by October. And that was my worry. So seeing that he's changed it a little bit and adapted his tactics, I think is encouraging, and that's as much as I can give it. Really, it is encouraging to see that, only for his own survival. And I want us to see us stick with a manager for a little while. And Arteta's kind of a good example. 8th, 5th. not great finishes by any stretch of the imagination, not for Arsenal. So I kind of want to see us do that with Ange. He's not my favourite. He wasn't my pick as manager, but it is him now, and let's stick with him and, back him, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And we finished the season with the manager for the first time since Pochettino. Can we go a second year next year? And when you're looking at, now it's all said and done, when you're looking at your outtakes from the season, is it a positive one? And what would you give your rating out of 10?
Positive. We finished fifth, and after losing Kane, I didn't really give us any chance for finishing any higher than eighth, in my personal opinion. We finished finished the season with a manager, and I suppose that's a positive. But yeah, I think next season, I think almost again stability for us. Stick with the plan. Let's kind of cement our position here and really have a go in the cups. I was really disappointed seeing us go out in the manner that we did against Fulham and then against Manchester City. If we can do that, then I would see progress. But at the moment, it's almost a one-off season at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. What would you give your rating out of 10?
Again, I'll be very harsh. I am harsh. I've been supporting Spurs since 1980. I've seen an awful lot in my time. Another season without a trophy. I can't give a season any higher than 6 out of 10 with no trophy and going out of the cups as early as we did. I'm sorry, I can't give it any more than a 6.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Lowest mark so far, Ian. Who's your player of the season?
It was a difficult one because I'll give it to Vicario as my man. Van der Ven has been brilliant as well, but I see a really special goalkeeper in Vicario. I really do. And actually, the other surprising player was Pedro Porro, but not in the position that he is in. I would push him almost to where Kulusevski plays, and I would maybe bring in a right back this summer.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, Emerson looks like to be going out the door as well, so maybe would you bring in 2 right backs then if you're going to play Porro as a winger?
Well, yeah, maybe. But again, I would like to see us, our youth teams have done so well this season. Let's see if we can promote someone from there, because you could bring in one right back. You've got Pedro Porro who can play forward. If worst comes to worst, you could put him back, and we've still got Kulusevski. No doubt we'll keep Brennan Johnson. So we've got those options up there. So I would promote from the youth and just say bring in one right back and just promote from the youth and have Kulusevski and Porro there.
Yeah, fair play. And if you could spend big money on one position this summer, what position would it be?
Got to be a striker.
Yeah.
And Brian's kind of hit it on the head, hasn't he? Yes, in theory, a number 6, but Ange doesn't play with a number 6, so there's no point bringing in players that he's not going to use. I think we would have had more success this season if we were a bigger threat up front, and that Maddison has someone to kind of aim towards and to feed. I think we would have been better with the striker. So I think having a real goal threat that other teams look at and go, hang on a minute, we've got to keep an eye on him, would actually then help the rest of the team. Because at the moment, teams look at us and go, there's no threat going forward. We can risk pushing more people forward and really attack their midfield, really attack Spurs' defence. And that really hasn't given us any sort of respite. So I think if you had a striker and a real goal threat, you would kind of alleviate some of that pressure on our midfield and defence.
Yeah, if only we would have kept Harry Kane this season, eh?
Yeah. And I don't know, he's Bayern Munich and crumbs. I mean, finishing 3rd in their league and still winning no trophy. God.
I wouldn't mind that.
What's the bet that you go to Germany, sign for Bayern Munich, and you still don't win any trophies, and he's the top goal scorer in the league? I mean, is that guy cursed? And as much as I love him, and I do love him, Is he cursed?
Yeah, we'll see next season, won't we? If they don't win anything for 2 seasons in a row, then I think people will have a serious case for it. But Ian,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
And thank you very much. Thank you for all you do for the Tottenham community. Thank you.
No, thank you. Hope to speak to you soon. Call in again. I think, is this the first time you've called in?
It is the very first time I've called in, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for fitting me in.
No problem at all. Hope to speak to you soon. But have a good summer, my friend.
You too. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
See you. All right. Is that it? That is it. All right. Another fan show done and dusted. We can say goodbye to the 23-24 season. Rich Frith with the super chat says, is Kulu our new...
Are we back?
We are back. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I was just going through the Rich Frith super chat.
Yeah. In terms of Decky, obviously the second goal we scored as well was a real striker's finish in terms of making sure he's getting ahead of the defender. He actually used his right foot for that one, and obviously the keeper got a bit of a hand to it. But how many times have you seen strikers score those kind of goals? So, look, it is only Sheffield United, albeit he did also give City a tough time on Tuesday night in that position as well. So, I think it is a position we should consider in the future if we're definitely lacking in options in that position. Like if Decky's available, I think that should be definitely a position he starts to play a bit more.
Do you think potentially Summer Business bring in a specialised right winger that can play the system, tug the touchline, get crosses in the box, and use Kulu as a bit of a utility man that can play in different sort of areas of the pitch?
Yeah, I think that's one way to do it as well. Obviously, I think we probably need a left winger more. I don't know, somebody's more.
I think we probably need all three, right, left, and centre.
We're not going to buy all three, are we? Probably going to buy 2 forwards, I think, at most, I would assume. But then, yeah, Decky could be a utility player. I'm a big fan of his quality. I think when you've got a player who's got as much ability as him, you can fit him in a number of places. So I'm just happy that he's got another position he seems to be effective in.
Michael Chi with the super chat says, cheers from Kansas, Europa League all the way. Come on, you Spurs. Big up to you, Michael. And I'm definitely looking forward to having European football back in N17 next season. But yeah, that is it. The last post-match fan show of the season. I want to thank each and every one of you for sticking with us throughout the season. Your support means absolutely everything to us. And yeah, we'll be back again next season, but we'll also be back in tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and all the way through the summer. Tomorrow we'll obviously be going deep into the game, the Sheffield United game, player ratings, match review, and throughout the week we'll be bringing out our season awards and everything like that, where we're reviewing the season as a whole, ratings over the season as well. So a lot of content to look forward to. But thank you, everyone, for sticking with us this season, and we'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.